Hello again and welcome back to the UK edition. It's winter before we knew it. That makes it also the time of the year perhaps to be planning that annual Christmas getaway to India. Why not? Maybe not to the hills just yet. It will be colder there than here for sure. But if you do find your way to Kullu and Manali or are planning a visit in the summer of next year, a remarkable sight waits for you, a school building. What's so remarkable about that? The story behind it. It started with a visit some years back when people saw children struggling in the cold in a makeshift shelter of a school. That led to conversations and to a decision to do something.
The Oswal Centre in Potter's Bar, north of London, is a long way from Kullu Manali in Himachal Pradesh in India. But a meeting here brought a reminder just how some people have bridged that distance to bring shelter and schooling to hundreds of children from the poor hill areas of Kullu. What was a dilapidated little structure for a few children some years ago has given way to an impressive boarding school. That change did not take governments, not here, not there. It took only a handful of people who were moved by what they saw and decided to do something about it. It started with a casual visit, followed by a simple conversation.
Two girls had gone out to Kullu Manali as volunteers about 4 years before we got involved, in fact. And they came back and told their dad that we were really disturbed by what we saw, the way the children were and how they were cared for and where they lived and the education. And the dad wanted to do something for the school, but didn't know where to start and how to start. And just by chance, with God's grace, he was introduced to us by a mutual common friend. And we got talking, and then one of our trustees went out to Manali to check out. We always do that before we take on a project. And then we did our due diligence, and we thought, yes, this is a project we can support because nobody else is supporting them, and the children are in desperate need of support.
The little narration turned out to be transformative because, as it turned out, the right people were listening.
The position was very bad because soon after I went as well, and the children were living in very poor accommodation. They had very basic hygiene facilities. The schooling and the school itself was very, very small. There were 40 students staying in one small room, and they were all being infected by each other's ill health. And when we saw that, there were tears in our eyes when we came out. So we thought, yes, definitely, we picked the right project to help out.
They had the corrugated roof, which was leaking. It was in February. There was snow outside, no sanitation, and they had 3 levels, bunk beds, all cramped up. The children who had to come down for 7 days and wouldn't see the family for 9 months. But yet they were very happy. But when we came out, we thought, wow, there's no way. How are they living in this kind of conditions? And my daughter actually cried a lot. I was really moved.
But it won't do to feel moved and walk away and tell 1 or 2 people how moved you were. This was going to need an action plan and a business-like approach.
We wanted to transform it because we talked to the trustees there, and they found land which they bought, and we wanted to build accommodation. We found out that the need was for about 350 children, maybe more. So we then did the sums for construction work, etc., and found out that yes, we could support them and we built 3 big buildings which would then accommodate them, which provided enough classrooms.
An extraordinary number of people, both old and young, came on board. Many of the young, especially, responded with refreshing enthusiasm.
You get the oh, in London, you know, we do this, we go about our daily lives, and you know that things are going on in the world, but when you really see it, I think it just brings it home, and they're like, actually, you know, I do want to help children, I do want to help them get an education, and I think it's great that we can bring that story to more people.
About 6 years ago, me and one other set up the Project CARE university volunteering program. So the program involves us sending student volunteers out to Manali and to a centre in Bhuj. They spend a couple of weeks there, raise money before they head out there, and then when they're there they teach the children and do sort of fun activities, and then we look to apply the funds that they've raised towards improving the schools, for example the facilities there, and sponsoring more children to. I think it's a completely life-changing experience. You go out there, and a lot of us work in sort of corporate professions, and you take 2 weeks out of your year to go there, spend time with children who have such hunger and desire to learn and to be better and to have opportunities, and to just be able to sort of share memories with them, whether it's just playing cricket or football with them in the playground or teaching them interesting facts about the world and geography. I think the experience in itself is overwhelming, and it's a holistic experience which you never forget, and I think that's something which goes for everyone who's has come back and said that it's something that they won't ever be able to forget.
I found out about the school through a former pupil of the school that I'd met volunteer teaching in Ladakh, and then I somehow contacted CAREducation, who helped set up the placement for me to go there for 5 weeks to teach English to the most senior classes and some basic IT as well. It's really fantastic to see, and there's such a great energy to the school, and yeah, the school really has so much potential. The students are already achieving very good things in their studies, and I'm sure the school will just continue to go from strength to strength.
The school was built at a cost, of course. What is extraordinary is how many people came up and how fast to meet that cost.
The costing initially was supposed to be in the region of £300,000. It's gone up to about £400,000, and we've managed to raise that sum from various donors. We have done various functions. We've got a CARE Youth section, very able children, youngsters, and they've raised a lot of funds. They did a trip by rickshaws from our other project in Bhuj to Manali. They raised a lot of funds. Then they trekked up the Kilimanjaro, raised more funds there, and over the years we built up good donors who believe in us, and they have wholeheartedly supported us.
I think it really varies from our donors and fundraisers and supporters. Like we were quite lucky to have the people that brought the project to us when that project was in a house that housed just 30 children coming to see it. I mean, they're just awestruck to see what it is and the capacity of it now. And then there's other people that hadn't seen it before. I mean, I took my mum to see the centre. It was the first time she visited a centre out there, and she was just like, you're doing what for how many people? Like, it's just having that awareness and really being exposed to the children. It's just like it's humbling, I think.
Come September this year, the school was inaugurated with a big party on the school grounds. And why not?
We went for the inauguration in September 2018, just a month or two ago, and we saw 320 children being educated there. They obviously have capacity for more, but they need more funds, and they have scope for extending for visitors and things like that. So that's something we may consider, and we are looking at project costs, which could be another few £1,000s. So that's a decision the board has to make here.
I think I compare it a lot to what I saw 6 years ago. So I went in 2012 and the building was still incomplete, the playground was still incomplete, the children were playing in rubble, was the sort of sense, but they were still really happy to be there because, you know, these children, they come from across the remote regions across the Himalayas, and they came to this school because it's the only way that they could get an education close to them. So then when I went back in 2018 for the opening, and I just saw the building complete, the playground complete, and like the children are just so much more happier.
It was just overwhelming, you know, how the little children from 4 years to 18 what they are doing there, you know, and how confident they're becoming, and how well they've been looked after. And they were so immaculate in their uniform, and it was indescribable, you know, just amazing.
With Sanjay Suri in London, this is Shreya Dhondial for News 18.